What a trip. Oh, good evening. One moment. Good evening, my dear watchers. And I know some of you are wondering, what took me so long? Let's just say there's a huge debate between two vampire movies for you watchers who wants me to review. Either you want me to review From Dusk to Dawn or Daybreaker. But for now, I will review Dusk to Dawn, and I will review Daybreaker after this review. But for now, the reason why I decided to review From Dusk to Dawn for you watchers, well, let's just say this is the reason why it took me so long to do this review, because I wanted to go to Mexico. And, well, for those of you who knows about the creatures, the vampiric creatures who live in Mexico, the El Chupacabra. What is an El Chupacabra, my dear watchers, you may ask? Well, El Chupacabra is Spanish for goat sucker, and they feast on the blood of goats. They will feast the blood on other animals, but they do not feast on humans. And what do they look like? They have a face like those aliens from UFO watches. You know, those people who always say they've been abducted by UFOs, and those aliens has those kind of shaped heads with almond-shaped eyes, and a flat nose and a slit mouth. Well, that's what the El Chupacabra look like. They look like one of them, except they have snake-like tongues and their eyes are red. And their body looks like something out of the Stone Age. They kind of look like they took a body out of a dinosaur. Kind of reptilian. And their backs are covered with porcupine quills. Very creepy, huh? But it's a good thing they don't attack humans. They only attack your animals for their blood. I have a few of them who are my dear pets. But besides the El Chupacabra, there are some vampire amigos from Mexico that I had to visit. Some of them wanted me to come over to Mexico to see how things are going in the vampire world in Mexico. Of course, my Spanish is a little rusty. I mean, I had to go, sí, señor, mi amor es el Dracula. But spending my nights with these vampire amigos, it just reminded me so much of that one movie I'm going to review for you today. So after I was done with Mexico, I flew back here in America to tell you about From Dusk to Dawn. Now, this movie was created by a Mexican director who goes by the name of Robert Rodriguez. Some of you may know Robert Rodriguez from his Spy Kids movies. That's right. The director who made From Dusk to Dawn made Spy Kids. And also El Mariachi series. You know, El Mariachi, El Desperado, and Once Upon a Time in Mexico. He did those movies, believe it or not. But let's talk about the one that started it all. From Dusk to Dawn, #1. Starring George Clooney and Quentin Tarantino. Now, some of you are wondering why did Multi-Voice Reviewer review this movie on Quentin Tarantino's month? This is a movie he starred in. he was reviewing movies that he directed. And they say that Robert Rodriguez and Quentin Tarantino are like this. Kind of like me and Mr. Death. We're like this. But it doesn't start out as a vampire movie to begin with. What started is when George Clooney here, he's a bank robber. And he's also a killer. And his brother, Quentin Tarantino, he is a paranoid schizophrenia. He hallucinates what people are saying to him. He hallucinates everything. But George Clooney wants him around because he's good with safes and all. You know, if he really did love him, he should send him into a psychiatric hospital. That's my opinion. But anyway, they were about planning to rob a bank, and they kidnap a woman who turns out to be the terror to the bank they were planning to rob. But sadly, he left his brother alone with her, and he hallucinated over what she told him, and he killed her. How about that? So now they need to find a way to get out of here, and George Clooney called his contact and tell him to go to Mexico to find a strip club. Now, I cannot say the name of the strip club. I have to censor the name, but this strip club here is called the Kitty Twister. I call it Kitty Twister, not the other word. Oh, and for you kids who are watching this, don't watch this movie. There's a lot of nudity and a lot of gross things. I don't think you kids should watch it. And if any of your parents see you watch these movies, don't blame me. I warn you. Anyway, back to the story. George Clooney and Quentin Tarantino, they decided to find a vehicle for them to steal, and they found Harvey Keitel and his daughter and his son. Now, Harvey Keitel was a former minister, but he quit being a minister because of his mother's death. Because of his wife's death, it made him leave his church. And of course, George Clooney noticed that Quentin Tarantino is hallucinating over Harvey Keitel's daughter. So George Clooney is keeping an eye on him while they pass Mexico. And then they finally went all the way to the Kitty Twister. And it says it will be open from dusk till dawn. Title of the movie, huh? And there's a lot of actors in it, like Cheech Marin from Cheech and Chong. And of course, you can see some of the special effects makeup people, like some of the guys who did the special effects on Evil Dead, and also Tom Savini is in it, and he's playing a guy called Sex Machine. He's a biker. I don't know why they call him Sex Machine. I mean, that's... Ugh. Anyway, the club only welcomes truckers and bikers. So Harvey Keitel gave him a license where he was a registered trucker. So they let him in. And the most shocking thing of all, there was a lot of beautiful senoritas dancing about. And the most sexiest one of all is the owner of the club, Selma Hayek. Mamacita. That's Selma Hayek. Every time I think of Selma Hayek, oh, sorry. Sorry, excuse me. I think it's something different. Yeah. That's better. Sorry for you to see that. Anyway, turns out that Selma Hayek is a head vampire. And all the strippers in that bar are all vampires. And you're killing all the truckers and bikers. So now all that's left is this black guy who is a Vietnam vet and sex machine. And also George Clooney. Quentin Tarantino got bitten and he became a vampire. So it drew George Clooney to kill him. So now all that's left is George Clooney, Harvey Keitel, his daughter, and his son. And Sex Machine got bitten, so he turned into a rat-like vampire. Now Harvey Keitel, he got bitten. So he's going to be turned into a vampire, and he asked his son and daughter to promise to kill him when he changed. So they made the promise. Sadly, the son got killed by the vampires. So all is left was George Clooney and Harvey Keitel's daughter. And now they gave George Clooney a getaway car for him to leave. And he decided to leave the girl behind. Kind of a selfish thing to do. But she wanted to go with him, but he said he's a bank robber, a criminal. She doesn't want to live in a life with a bank robber. It's just not right. And that was the end from Dusk to Dawn. Or is it? And that's when these sequels came out. And then comes this sequel, which it's swing and miss, like all sequels. From Dusk to Dawn 2, Texas Blood Money. Starring the guy who played the liquid metal guy from the Terminator. They're planning to have a bank, planning to rob a bank in Texas, and one of their bank robbing buddies got bitten by a vampire. So now he's turning all of his friends into vampires, and he's the only one who didn't change. Him and the sheriff who is after him. So now it become an all-out war between the vampires and the policemen in Texas. Now this movie, Oh, wait a minute. A little booklet. Selma Hayek. Now, they call Selma Hayek's character Santanico Pandemonium. And she's the queen of all vampires. And you can see from her snake form, well, vampire form, she looks like a snake. And there's Sex Machine. Very interesting. Anyway, let's get to the third movie, shall we? Now, one thing I had to say about the third movie, it was alright. It was pretty good, a little better than the second movie. This one is called From Dusk to Dawn 3, The Hangman's Daughter, and this one is a prequel. It takes back into the Western times. Well, this guy, he is an outlaw, and he was about ready to be hanged, but he escaped, and ended up into this area where it used to be the Kitty Twister, but in the past it's just a bar. And the same thing starts happening. And the hangman who tries to kill him, he has a daughter, and the fugitive took the hangman's daughter with him. And it turns out she is Santana. Pandemonium. So this movie tells more of the backstory of Selma Hayek's character. And they're all created by Robert Rodriguez and Quentin Tarantino. Now, for you grown-ups, to my opinion as Lord of the Vampire, I say From Dusk Till Dawn is not a bad movie. I just wish they didn't put all that nudity into it. Ugh. And From Dusk Till Dawn got so popular, they decided to make a comic book of its story. But it didn't continue. They just took the first story from the first movie, and that's about it for the comic book genre. But now I heard that there is this new channel called E-Ray Network, Robert Rodriguez's channel, where they show every exploitation movies and other things that Quentin Tarantino and Robert Rodriguez had made. And they made a new TV series, and it is From Dusk Till Dawn, the series. So now they're taking the same story, except changing a lot. Like, and of course it's being recast. Like, George Clooney's brother in this story, he becomes a vampire, but he stays with the queen. While they leave, they're going off somewhere. And George Clooney's character ends up with the girl, and they both start hunting vampires. Now, I haven't seen the series myself. I'm waiting for the DVD to come out so I can see the first season, see what I think. But all in all, I heard a lot of things about this series, and it's pretty interesting. I just hope there's no nudity in it. That's just my gripe. So, watch From Dusk Till Dawn, or go to El-Ray's network and watch the TV series. I guaranteed the movie is very, very good. Very bloody, very scary, but good. Oh yeah. My days in Mexico. One of my amigos found this and gave it to me. My Count talisman. What I used to wear when I was once a count. Haven't worn this in a long time. Kind of momento, if you ask me. Nah. Titles don't matter anymore to most people. So now, I'll keep it as a souvenir. So, for those of you who like this review of From Dusk Till Dawn, please leave a comment down below, hit like and subscribe. And stay tuned. My next review is going to be Daybreakers. And after Daybreakers, this will be my last review, because Mr. Multi-Voice Reviewer found some things he wants to review now, and he is dying to do it. So this is Dracula here, telling to you all, good night. Ah!